To be honest, I think my mental health started with OCD when I was about age 7 or 8. So before I go too deep into OCD, what it basically is OCD, which stands for Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, which is, it really varies from person to person, but it basically is that people have to do a thing a certain way or repeat certain things. So for me personally, when I was around 7 or 8, I started saying things like, I'm a human, me. And I don't know why, but back then I just always had doubts that if I was a real human or if I was like some kind of robot or something. Like I just had this strange fear of robots back then, and I kind of still to this day, but not really as much as back then. But I don't know, I just really had this feeling that, was I completely human or am I like a robot or something? So with that, I just kept saying to myself, like, I'm a human, like I just kept saying that phrase over and over and over again, like so many times a day, and that went on for about a year, and I think so. And then with that, it kind of evolved into more kind of habits. So I kept doing things like looking up like that with my eyes, or having to like if I turned around, I wouldn't be satisfied, so I have to kind of turn around in the opposite way to kind of reset my grounding. It's very like odd, and really like from an outside perspective people can see it as quite weird or strange, but for me it was like a kind of fix that I had to have. And this kept going on for like many years. Like it was from one habit to another, and back then, like I've never even heard of OCD back then, and when I went to see doctors about it as well, like the doctor, together with my mum and stuff, just thought it was like bad habits that like kids do like from time to time. But for me it was really severe. Like it started to kind of disrupt my life really, and kind of take over things. And it can't it jumps from like thing to thing. So after saying things like I'm human, and doing the eye things and stuff, it kind of kept changing into many things. And when I was into my teens, it started getting like, I don't know, like I had this thing that I have to kind of swallow twice. If I swallow, I have to swallow again. Like I always have to do things in even numbers and never really odd. So I can't do things in like 1, 3, or 5 and so on. It has to be 2, 4, 6, 8. And for whatever reason, in my mind, I always said 8 the maximum. So say like I take steps to a place, and before entering the room, I have to step. My last step before entering the room has to be an even number. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3. And then if I reach the room, I have to be like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then enter. So it's very like personal and kind of obscure things, but it was really just interfering with my life really. And other examples were things like while walking, I had to touch my right toe. So while walking, I'll just bend down, touch my right toe, and then this resulted in people, whoever was behind me, can sometimes bump into me or get annoyed with me. So that was difficult. And I mean, even to this day, I still have a lot of OCD. So every time I wake up in the morning, the first things I always say in my head or out loud sometimes is, my name is Hoiman Simon Yip, because I still have this really fear that I might not be myself or I might become someone else. So with the thoughts and voices, they always say things like you'll become someone else, or turn into this person specifically, it's usually people that I know who are close to me, or just like random people I see on TV and stuff. Like the voice will say, you will turn into that person, or become that person, or look like that person. And I just always have this fear that I'm not myself, and I'm scared to turn into someone else. So I always have to remind myself of who I am. And it goes back to that OCD thing as well. So in the morning, I will say like, I myself, I am Hoiman Simon Yip. But that's just saying it once, so I have to say it again twice. And for whatever reason, if I'm not satisfied saying it twice, I have to say it another 2 times. So in the end, it will become 4 times. And then coming back to that thing when 8 is the maximum, like the maximum of times I can say that to myself is 8 times per day. Like, I don't know, it's just a very weird kind of ritual sort of thing. Like, this is just how OCD has affected me. And like, even when I'm eating, the voices or my OCD will say like, have rice twice before I go on to like vegetables or meat and stuff. So that can become very like distracting. And even just things like simple things like picking up a pen. Like, I can't do it the first time, so I have to drop it and pick it up again. And if I'm not satisfied with that, I have to do it 3, 4, and then if I'm still not satisfied, I'll be like 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that's the maximum times I can do it. And then that's just holding out a pen. So if I drop it, I'll probably have to do it the second time. And that can just be with everything, even from like picking up a cup to drink. I have to put it back down, pick it up again, and when I sip to swallow, it has to be in even numbers. So this can like disrupt my like appetite and just way of doing things. And even when I'm with other people, like if someone asks me, oh, can you pass that whatever object to me, and I pass it, I have to do the OCD thing. And it can happen even when they want it really quickly. I still have to kind of like do my OCD things to give it to them. And to them, like, to people who don't really know what OCD is and stuff, it can seem quite strange of like, you can wonder like, why are they doing that and stuff. But I don't know, like if I do it on an odd number, I just start to get all, and then force myself to not put it down and do it again. I just kind of start feeling really shaking, cold inside, but really hot and bothered. And then I'll start feeling lightheaded and start to question like, I'm not myself, but I keep saying the things, I am myself. So it's very like difficult living with OCD. And because having the voices as well, as it kind of like the voices and OCD are kind of like allies of the same sort of entity. So they kind of work together to kind of almost like really bind me really, and sort of control my actions a lot of the time. So yeah, that's just how OCD has affected me, and it's still affecting me really heavily. And not only am I taking medication for my mental health and stuff, I'm also taking like medications for OCD, which is supposed to kind of keep it stable. So no, I mean, this is just, so even just like simple tasks like picking up a pen and then writing a letter, but having to write it a second time, like go over it, like it really does like take a lot of my time and makes it really difficult just to do pretty much anything really. Like even when I enter a room, like say like this is the room and this is outside, I have to be like go in and then come back out and then go back in again. And this can happen like even up to 8 times. So I'll kind of be dancing in between 2 rooms, and like even when people are behind me, I still have to do it. And then sometimes I even bump into the person behind, and they can sometimes get annoyed or angry and stuff. So it's not that I want to do it, it's just I don't know, I just can't help but doing it. So yeah, it's just that's how severe OCD can become, and unfortunately for me, it's it's affected me really heavily and still does. So, but I just have to, I just always keep challenging myself really to like try not to do the habits, try not to fall into the OCD, and because if I like allow it to fall, allow it to kind of build up, it kind of can become really uncontrollable, and that just makes me really exhausted and just overall really drowned out inside, and then that results in me always feeling really tired a lot of the time as well. So that's why a lot of the times I just kind of end up sleeping throughout the day due to like no motivation, or sometimes even just to avoid OCD, because if I'm asleep it won't really affect me because I'm asleep. So it's just what, for me personally, living with OCD is. It's just really difficult and makes life much more challenging. But I mean, I have spoken to like specialists on how to tackle them and stuff, and I have been doing those things like trying to like minimize it to like just a few times a day, but that can be really challenging. So I know I just have to keep trying my best really each day to not succumb or become too overwhelmed to OCD if I can help it, and just keep taking my medication, keep challenging them if I'm able to, and just have to sort of like live alongside it really until they can find like an actual cure for OCDs. But for now I have to kind of live with it and try and suppress it as best I can. And yeah, this is just what OCD is, what it can, how OCD can affect people like me. So hopefully in this video I've exposed to you what OCD is and how strongly it can affect people. So just like because I feel that OCD is still quite unheard of in a lot of places, and not a lot of people know about it. So but I think in recent years it has become more exposed because mental health as well has been exposing more on TV and news lately, and so has OCD slightly. But I think as of right now, it's still not widely known. So, like I said, hopefully in this video, I've exposed you to OCD and what it's like and how it can affect various people. And it's, although it's not really like a physical sort of condition, it's more of a like mental and almost invisible sort of condition, but all the same it's still like a very serious sort of like condition and health problem. So hopefully I've like just like try and be more aware of it really, and if you see someone acting rather strange or starts doing things weirdly, like don't like look down on them or judge them. Like be more understanding of trying to be like what they're feeling or what their condition is. Like even if it's not OCD, try and understand like there's always a reason why someone does something. So try not to like judge them or look down on them. Just try and be more understanding really. Like that's what I could really say at this moment. Until OCD becomes a very widely known condition, it's just something you got to be more aware of really. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, always look forward, keep hope alive, and remember, you're somebody.